I've been thinking about the idea of using Granulator with electric guitar. So as long as you give it the same pitch, maybe with different octaves, it's gonna be really cool to try to play chords with that. Something like that into this. By selecting grain size, we're gonna change how big and small the grains are. So the pieces of audio of the sample that are being played over time, we're gonna change how big and small they are with the LFO. I think it would be cool to filter it a bit because the high end is a bit annoying. So first we're gonna put a reverb in parallel by grouping it and creating a different chain. That's pretty cool. Also, we're gonna put a micro shift on it, which makes it very stereo. I think if we go like 118 maybe, it would be cool. Let's try to, just to have a vibe for it, have a kick to see how it sounds by just being sidechained. Okay, so we're gonna have a track, already name it kick. So now we're gonna add a sidechain to this, called the kick. Okay, so if we play a loop of this. Cool, let's see what we can do with operator. So I have this operator here, and maybe it's too redundant. It's syncing the oscillators for them to repeat like crazy actually, but maybe we can make it slower. This is somewhere to go. Might grab the micro shift on this because I think that the idea would be to make this not the main bass stack exactly. I think if we keep it in a low velocity, it's cool, but what's actually happening is that the filter is more close. That's really cool. Let's try it. I don't think it's the main bass. To maybe quantize this a bit. Yeah, so I have an arpeggiator that I think it can work. What is interesting about this arpeggiator is that it has an echo that has a vocoder after it. So instead of hearing the repetition of the notes, you hear the just noise. That's what I mean. I might go back to this and make it repeat in 16s or 8s because I don't want conflict. Yeah, and now this way, when we get this arpeggiator here, something like this might be cool, but we might want to, maybe we want to reverse some of these. But if we do that, we have to put it back more or less here. So it's a matter of selecting some parts, reversing them. This guy might be cool to just do that too. Yeah, that's pretty cool, but I might tune it down. Cool. I feel that this might get repetitive, so maybe we can have a section where we do something with this. Maybe we can grab a filter and an LFO. Make it a triangle. This makes me want to have a bigger bass, or an actual bass, because we didn't really grab an actual bass. How about we grab an Arturia? It might be cool if it just moved the same way. So how about we grab this? Put it here. Just remove that last note, I think. It might be a good time to grab the guitar again and see, instead of granulating it, just playing something on the top of this. Maybe just with see what happens if we really mess with it. Just by, for example, we can make an octave in parallel, add an octave. Just make a parallel chain. Let's do a multi-band. Add some lows to it. The key thing to do is to add a reverb. And the really cool thing that we can do here is to grab a multiband compressor to do that kind of OTT effect, which is basically upward compression, which is like, instead of just bringing down the peaks, you bring up anything that's below that threshold. So you make a reverb tail before this becomes so present, which is really cool. So I usually grab the mid section of it and kind of tune it to, okay, now we grab the ratio and we make it go up, threshold up. Okay, so I'm gonna make this thing not be happening the whole time. So we're gonna turn that off and just automate it to turn on at this point. Okay, so at this point we have this. Okay, and what we'll do here is grab another loop of these G4, put it right there. Just we'll start with a closed filter. What would be cool also is to grab the kick maybe for this amount of time. Yeah, so at this point we will go back to the guitar, but this is a basic pad. It just has this very long attack with a bit of glide that goes into that attack, as well as the filter opening, and then you have this LFO really quick controlling an extra filter. So it's very, it has a long release, so it's a nice thing to have as a intro sound maybe around here. Something like that. Yeah, maybe. Maybe we make it come around here. Make it come, that's what she said. Maybe something like that is cool. Part is really cool. It's just like I think at this last point it's cool to have something like this. At this point, yes, we want to make it very Mike Dean-ish, like very stereo. So we will grab a micro shift. No reverb though. I like it, but this kind of sound makes me want to play something else, like just play the chords or something, like a bass line. It's I mean, if we grab this same way the filter is moving and put it in this track with the guitar, let's try and record it. We won't hear it until after. And we can make it less deep. I like it. And maybe what we can do now is add some extra percussion and have a moment of a darker sound, sort of. So it would be grabbing let me grab that. Let me show you what I'm doing there. Okay. Yeah, let's do it over here. Yeah, it has latency, but you know, that's what it is with so many plugins. Okay, let's quantize that. So this percussion, we might be able to do something with it where it's more alternative, let's say. What happens if we add this? Yeah, that's perfect. Then we add a pedal in parallel. So again, we group it. I do it like that. It's the best way to control, really. I should have a microshift because I'm putting microshifts everywhere. That's the only problem that I do have, and I know that it's a waste of resources. Although it's cool to maybe have a different mode and a different, you know, tiny different setting. Yeah, and maybe we can add a vocoder to give it some extra texture, maybe here. Yeah, maybe at this point, since this bass is becoming more of a main character, we can add a roar to it in parallel. At the end here, I just added a serum, just your typical unison saw, one normal octave, a lower octave. It's very your classic. Just for the end here, because at the end we left just this part of the guitar as a build-up for a drop. That's the idea. But what I was saying before it cut is that what I like the most is what we did at first, just granulating the guitar. And maybe we just do a different idea because there's something about it. Or do we just go back to the same way the filter moves? Yeah, I think that's the cool part. Yeah, and just maybe adding some clap. Let's make a group for the claps and just put everything on that group. Let's see how that sounds. Yeah. So I came back to it with fresh ears and just reorganized the structure of it. I did add a couple new things. For example, I made this sound here. It's just a quick pluck, which is not being arpeggiated. I just played this kind of, I think it was, yeah. To make it grow in the song, we automated a couple different things. First, we linked the envelope, and what we did is automate the decay time, which what's happening is that the decay time is increasing, making the sound become bigger as it keeps growing. it goes from plucky to more of a full note when the decay increases. And then we also opened up a filter, so it starts being filtered. And as the decay increases, also the filter keeps opening. So you get that kind of growth both in frequency spectrum and in length of notes. And yeah, this is just something that I added in this quiet section. And in this last drop, what happens is we added some extra drum sounds. So in this track, I have this. It's just some stomping sounds and some percussions. You just add weight into it. And on this track, we have this kind of snare sound, which is very organic. And if you notice, it's a bit late, which gives it a bit more groove. Something that I also didn't mention that I added was some percussions to make more clear transitions between sections. It's nice to have sounds like this. Just some hits with echo and reverb. And what I did also here is freeze that, so turn that into audio with its reverb tail and with its delay, and reverse it to have this kind of growing. And yeah, the last thing is some noise here. You know, just to create kind of a crash. You barely notice it, but you do feel it. And if it's not there, you do notice that it's missing something, you know, some kind of a higher frequency hit. And this is in a group, as you see, that has echo. It has a parallel chain with reverb and a microshift, and this OTT thing of upward compression, making the reverb tail much more present.